Good morning, friends. Wednesday, April 20th. It is the Wednesday after Easter, and I'm glad to share with you that Easter Day, Resurrection Day here at Elfenwild was wonderful. We had 3 services of worship. The first one at 7 a.m. outdoors for the sunrise, where those of us who were there were snowed upon, and it was just a glorious celebration. And then 8:30 and 11:10 in the sanctuary were just full of energy and life. We saw so many people back in the sanctuary for the first time in a long time. And we thank God for the gift of the church and coming together on Easter morning. This morning we're going to hear a little bit about one of our primary and major ministries and missions, and that is the preschool here at Elfenwild Church. And Kristen Coco is the director of that, and she's here to share a little bit so that you know how impactful this congregation is in our community here.
Thanks, Dirk. I'm so excited to be here just to share with you some of the exciting things that are happening at Preschool over the next several weeks. We're actually coming up on the end of our school year at the end of May, but there's so many things going on. I'm glad to be sharing with you. Just this morning, our eggs went in our incubator, and the very last caterpillar made its chrysalis. So we're eagerly awaiting butterflies and chicks. But also we have residing over there right now fish and crickets and praying mantises. So it's not only the life of the children, but it's also learning about God's world and all of the different life that He created here. So we're grateful to be able to have those experiences for the children. Coming up quickly here is our Reading Adventure Days. This is our celebration of children's literature and books and authors and illustrators and how much we can learn from them and through them. So for Reading Adventure Day, each classroom chooses a different story to focus on, and then explores that in a lot more detail through activities and projects. And then their classroom kind of comes to life focusing on that book. So those will happen the first 2 weeks of May. The children will actually rotate between all of the classrooms during that time, and will be able to experience all of the different books that the other classrooms have chosen. We also get to wear our fancy Elfenwild t-shirts that we decorated ourselves earlier this spring. So this year our books include one classroom is doing chicks and salsa and will be making their very own salsa that day. Another is doing Love the Earth, and this is where they're exploring how do we take care of God's creation and take care of the earth that He has given to us. Another is about celebrations and the perfect birthday recipe, sharing with our friends and in those celebrations. Another is the duck who didn't like water. Can you imagine a duck who doesn't like water? But this little guy doesn't, so we learn about his adventure. We'll explore the idea of gravity and what happens to all of that little stuff that we might drop. In the story, it fell from the sky. And then we have 2 more. The next is a day at the farmer's market, and this is actually a collection of poetry. So this classroom will be focusing on poetry at the farmer's market. And then our final one is Library Mouse, and this little mouse who becomes an author and an illustrator himself. And that's one of the things that we encourage the children to do all of the time, is to tell their own stories, whether it's in words or pictures. So we're excited about Reading Adventure Day. In addition to the regular classrooms, though, we will go to our science room, where we will blast off into an adventure in outer space. We're really excited this year. Some of our decorations will be paintings similar to this one that are done by John Hughes, who is our custodian here at the church. He is very talented both musically and artistically. And he will also be sharing a demonstration on how he does these paintings with the children watching and observing him. So we're excited to be able to bring that experience to the children. And then, of course, the most important and best room of all will be our gym, where we turn part of it into our whole focus of following the life of Jesus. So we will set that up from nativity through the empty tomb. Each classroom has decorated a background to help tell each one of those Bible lessons that we've had this year. We will use our Fontanini figures to retell them, and then there will be various activities that go along with those stories, whether it's playing with the animals that were there at the nativity in the stable, or if it will be fishing and casting nets like the some of the men that Jesus called to be his disciples, or if it will be working with wood and some other things like a carpenter would have, as Joseph would have taught Jesus to do. So the gym will be set up that way, and we will focus on our Bible lessons there. So there's a lot of activity going on around Reading Adventure Day, but very quickly following that will be our end-of-year programs. Our end-of-year programs are just special celebrations. The children will share songs and some of the dances and the music that we've done this year, all in praise to God, and singing about the love that he has for us. So their families are invited to those, and it's a special send-off for those children who we won't see for the summer, but will be returning in September, but then also a send-off for those children who are going on to kindergarten. We are so blessed that through a gift by an Elf and Wild member, we are able to provide for those children going to kindergarten a Bible of their very own. So we're grateful for that gift. We are also grateful for just the support and prayers of the congregation. Navigating preschool through a pandemic has been somewhat of a roller coaster ride, but by God's grace and through the love and support of this congregation and our church family, we have been able to minister to the 300 students and their families throughout this past year, and we are so appreciative and grateful for that. I can't say enough about the staff that we have at preschool. These ladies give 110% every day that they're here, loving these children and helping them to grow into all of who God created them to be. So I am grateful for them, and just ask you to please, include them in your prayers as well. So we're coming up here on those last couple of weeks. Thank you so much for, again, for your prayers and support, and happy spring.
Friends, the ministry of the preschool is something that Elf and Wild Church is known for, not just here locally, but around the area here of the North Hills of Pittsburgh. I want to tell you a quick story. The first few years that Van and I were here, so somewhere like 2005, 2006, we went on vacation in that summer down to South Carolina to visit her family, and we were at the pool in this complex, and I was wearing my Elf and Wild Church preschool t-shirt. And in South Carolina, somebody said, Elf and Wild Church preschool, my kid went there, all the way down in South Carolina. And we talked for a long time about the importance of the ministry that the preschool provides for children and families. You may be aware that the preschool is often one of the doors that people enter the church through here at Elf and Wild. Many, many families that are members of Elf and Wild Church came to know Elf and Wild Church through the ministry of the preschool. It's just that dynamic, and it is a wonderful place. If you know of any families who have children that are ready for preschool, please look on the website, call Kristen, get them registered so that they can come and be a part of a really wonderful program. I wanted to just share a little bit of biblical foundation. Why is it important that we care for our children? And we do here at Elf and Wild in so many ways. The Proverbs say, raise up a child in the way they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. In other words, start them when they are young. In the book of Deuteronomy, the Shema for the people of Israel says, Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one. And it goes on to talk about how you should impress upon your children and teach them the things about God. And then finally, in the New Testament, in the Gospel of Matthew, the words of Jesus himself when the little children are around. He says, "Let the little children come to me." And so that's why children are so important here for us at Elfin Wild Church. We are being faithful to the call of Christ and hopefully raising up new generations of believers and followers. And Elfin Wild Preschool is one of those areas of outreach. So thanks to Kristen and the staff and all of those who have done this for decades now in serving Christ through serving the children of our community. Friends, I hope that we will see you this Sunday. We have yet another opportunity to celebrate children as we baptize a little infant, the great-granddaughter of a member here, Betty Puntereri. Come and join us in person for worship. If you can't, we're glad to be online with you. We care about you. We hope you're doing well. Let us know how things are and if we can be the presence of Christ for you. Take care. God bless. Have a great day.